Doug Baldwin is in his 8th year as an NFL wide receiver. He's a 2-time Pro Bowl selection and helped the Seahawks win a Super Bowl in 2013. The self-proclaimed nerd graduated from Stanford with degrees in science and technology and society. In 2016, he teamed up with the city of Renton and the Renton School District to help build the Family First Community Center. Seahawks wide receiver Doug Baldwin, welcome to the GeekWire Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we are here at Southport in Renton, and GeekWire reporter Taylor Soper is joining us. Taylor, you want to take it away with the first question?
Sure, thank you. Thanks, Doug, for being here. I know you're a busy guy. You've got a busy job.
Just got out of the shower.
You are a short drive away here at the VMAC where the Seahawks practice. Big game this weekend, Chargers. But I want to kind of go in the past a little bit. 2011, you've just arrived in Seattle, specifically here in Renton. And Teriyaki, you and Sherman went to a teriyaki joint here. Tell us about that and how that kind of started your experience here in Renton.
Yeah, so those who have been around Renton for a very long time, they know of Mama's Teriyaki. And it was just this little, I hope she doesn't get mad at me, it's this little hole-in-wall place. You know, she made it just a very vibrant, very welcoming place to come and just enjoy a meal. And so, yeah, of course, you know, Sherman and I being in the area, we wanted to find our little joint where we could go and relax and be ourselves, and that was it. And what we noticed was there was always people coming. There was police officers coming, students coming, and it just felt like this was like a hub of the community. But we also noticed that the kids they really didn't have anything else. And so, as he mentioned earlier, it was one of my passions was to bring something and activities to the area so kids can enjoy it. But Mama's Teriyaki definitely is the spot.
Taylor, did you go there during your week
I did
here?
not. Actually, I think, is it still around?
You missed out. It's not anymore. Oh. Unfortunately, she's doing successful in business right now because she makes great teriyaki. She moved to Faux Shizzle. I don't know if you guys have heard of Faux Shizzle in Renton. But then she got too big for that property, so now she's in UW. So she's moving on up.
But started right here.
Yeah.
So Doug, many people may not know that the Seahawks do have their practice facility here, the VMAC, as it's known.
The Renton Seahawks.
Exactly. So you talked a little bit about your roots, after you're arriving here in this community, but I'd be curious to know, like, what's it like to be in Renton? How would you describe it to somebody who's never been here before?
Wow. Well, for me personally, right? So I came from Pensacola, Florida, and if you know anything about Pensacola, Florida, you know it's not diverse, and it's very old school, if you will. Listen, I'm not going to go there, but I was fortunate and blessed enough to come out to the West Coast. I went to college in California, a phenomenal experience, a culture shock for me, and then it felt like a natural transition when I came here to Renton. The community, just the people, the vibe was just very warm. And obviously we know it's a very progressive area, and that was very similar to what I felt in California, and the diversity. I can't speak enough about the diversity. It was just, not only just in ethnicities, but diversity of thought, diversity of just everything. The collective was so diverse. I keep saying diversity, but it meant a lot to me. And so that's why it was so important to me to be a part of it. And so the people who know it, people who haven't experienced it yet, I would say there's the opportunities just to be a more well-rounded human being is right here in Renton.
So in 2016, you teamed up with the city and the school district to help start the Family First Community Center. Tell us about that. I mean, you're a busy guy. You've got a lot of things going on, not just on the field, but I know you're an investor in Vices, which just announced actually Aaron Rodgers as another investor today. But why put your time and your energy and your money? I mean, you're putting up millions of dollars for this community center. Where does that come from? And maybe from some of your childhood too, that kind of importance of having something like that.
Yeah, so my response to you, and typically to people who ask me, why do you do these things? My response is typically, well, why not? And I think it's very easy to kind of categorize athletes and entertainers into this one category and say, oh, they're philanthropists or they're doing things for the community, when players, athletes, entertainers, they've always been doing things for the community. It's just now it's been more broadcast, right? The technology and social media, you hear about it more often. But for me personally, it's always been about and how I was raised was about serving those around you and being a part of a community for the greater good of that community. And so it's a no-brainer for me when people ask me, why do you want to do this? It's, well, I'm a part of something. I'm a part of a human collective, and I want to be a part of it that's going in a progressive manner and doing things in a positive way. So that's why I do it.
Taylor mentioned Visus, which is the high-tech football helmet company based here in Seattle, spun out of the University of Washington. You're an investor.
Yes.
And
just announced the Visus One youth helmet. So if you need a youth helmet,
That's right.
Yeah.
It just went generally available today. It's roughly $500 helmet that you can buy for youth. But do you also wear a Visus helmet on the field?
On the field.
First, I want to talk about technology broadly, but first I want to ask, tell us what that helmet has done for you in terms of your confidence about your safety.
Well, you just said it.
Yeah.
It definitely has brought me more confidence. And, it's funny. It's hard for me to talk about this because I am a football player, right? And the NFL and the broader spectrum doesn't want NFL players talking about the dangers and the risks and the inherent risks that come with playing football. And, I've been fortunate enough to not have as many injuries as some others have, specifically brain injuries. And it's just one of those things. You get to a point when you start to realize what's important in life, what you value, what you prioritize. And I want to live a very long and healthy life for my future children that aren't born yet. I want to create memories with them and remember them and be cognitively aware of everything that's going on around me and just being present with my children. And so one of the factors that plays into that is being healthy on the football field, not with just, the general body, but also with my brain. And, Visus was a no-brainer, no pun intended.
What about technology overall? Are there things that have changed even in the past 2-3 years? We had you at the GeekWire Sports Tech Summit a couple years ago, and you talked a little bit about this, but I know things are evolving quickly. Is there any one or two things or anything that stands out for you that's changed the game or your preparation or recovery from the game?
Recovery from the game?
Or anything.
I mean, there's always technology being pitched to us, as you can imagine. We get a number of things to the facility, just, hey, try this. It's for free. Try it, see what it, and we get a lot of stuff. And genuinely, I would say that nothing beats just a good night's rest, right? A good day off with some solid food and some rest and relaxation. I think nothing beats that. So, we can throw a whole bunch of technology at problems that you see athletes having, but, nothing's going to beat time off from actually doing what we do.
So I got to ask you, apart from the score, is there any one number that you look at right after a game that you use to either evaluate your performance or the team's performance? What are the most important numbers you look at when you look at the stat sheets after a game?
So individually, I'll start there first. As a receiver, I look at my targets to catch ratio. So, we'll go through the course of a game and the quarterback may throw me 4 or 5 passes. I want to make sure that I'm catching 4 or 5 of those targets. And so that for me, just because in Seattle we don't throw the ball that often, we never have, unfortunately. So I haven't been really able to compare myself to the greater collective of receivers in the NFL just by gaudy numbers. I haven't been able to do that. So the way that I can compare myself to other individual receivers is by how many times the ball's thrown to them, how many times they catch it. And to me, if you're a receiver and the quarterback throws you the ball and you catch it more times than the other people do, then you might be a good receiver. So, and not to boost my own ego, but nobody's come close. So, as a team, as a whole, I think it might sound counterintuitive for a receiver to say this, but I always look at the run attempts, the rush attempts, and so the more we run the ball, means that we're controlling the clock, meaning that the opposing offense is not on the field, so they can't score points, and then also our third down conversion rate. So if we're converting on third down, that means we're keeping the ball longer than the opposing offense, and typically we're scoring points. So if we can do that on a regular basis, then I think that's that typically tells us how well we really did in that game.
That's great. That was a very selfless one on the run, the run stat. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with it.
So big picture, we cover a lot of startups on GeekWire, and it always strikes me when I start to follow the Seahawks again over the off season and think about the next season and read all the coverage. A lot of times the challenges you're facing as a team are just natural things that startups would face as well. New people coming in, different teammates to play with. Are there any lessons that you can impart to the startup community, the tech companies out there, about what you do, what Pete Carroll does, what Russell Wilson does, that basically keep people on the same page amidst all of that sort of turmoil, both internally and externally?
It's funny. I get this question a lot.
Oh, no. Really? Gosh, I thought that was so original.
And the honest truth is we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. Let's be honest. If we really did know what we were doing, then there would be a lot more successful startups, football teams, sports teams out there, right? Because you would just paste the formula. But the truth of the matter is you're dealing with individuals on every level. You're dealing with human beings who are different on every level. And you have to approach it as such. I do a lot in terms of my passion is social justice right now. And I know it's a big word and it's thrown out there all the time, but really what it comes down to me when we start attacking these social problems and social issues, it's more that you have to attack these issues from an empathic place. You have to look at the individuals, you have to look at human beings, you have to humanize these issues. And I think it's the same thing for startups, for teams, for anybody. When you look at a collective group of people, you have to humanize the problems or the solutions you're trying to bring about. But I will say this, this may seem weird coming from a 30-year-old thinking that he may know it all, but I will say this. There is an unconscious conspiracy in every organization, I believe, in my personal opinion. There's an unconscious conspiracy to keep the status quo the status quo. And I believe that is the number one factor that prevents good people or good organizations from becoming great or from excelling to the next plateau. Sometimes I believe you have to, even if it's good, you have to blow it up, because if you want to become great, you're always changing, you're always progressing, and you can't progress, you can't change if you stay stagnant, if you're too afraid to go out on the limb. And so, take that for what you will. I think just human beings in general should never be afraid to risk, because when you risk, you are growing, and I don't want to stay stagnant.
You're starting to sound a little bit like a startup founder or startup CEO.
Starting a family.
Yeah, as we talk about family and kids that you might have and life after football, I mean, what does that look like for you? I know social justice is a passion for you, and building a community center here in Renton. I mean, are you thinking about this? Like, what is that? What does Doug Baldwin after the NFL look like?
Hopefully, my number one obviously is taking care of my family. Right, that's always going to be my priority. That's what my values are set on, is my family. Absolutely think about it every day, what I want to put myself into after football's done. I think I'll probably take a year off, do nothing, disappear from the public eye, just to kind of recalibrate who I am as a human being, and really reassess my values as a man. And then we'll see what happens. I really hope that I can get away from the label and the logo of Doug Baldwin, the football player, and people can start looking at me as Doug Baldwin, the human, because ultimately I think that that's how you can really create change and effectuate change in the world, when people start looking at individuals as human beings. So I'm hoping that is the direction that I go in afterwards, after I'm done with football.
Very good.
So to that point, what role do athletes have to play as you're thinking about these social issues? And I realize you want to sort of get beyond Doug Baldwin, the NFL player, but is there a chance to use that platform in your post-NFL career?
Absolutely.
And how could you do that?
I don't know yet. That's the conundrum I'm in, because I want to get away from this football persona, but it also has presented me an opportunity and a platform to do the things that I want to do. I will say that I feel like if there's this parable, it's called the parable of talents, and some of you may know it. And I think that I've been blessed with a number of talents, and I don't want those to go to waste. I don't want to bury them and not, risk them to create more. So I'm willing to do that. And I think that, again, like I said earlier, being a human being, first and foremost, will help me do that.
I got to ask you, talk about your outlook on the rest of the season here. I know you've got the Chargers coming up here.
Didn't I just say? I'm joking. Not yet. My outlook on the season, it started off very rough, both as a team and personally. But I think what I'm most excited about is that this team is filled with young men that are really trying to find themselves in the world. Right? They're trying to experience something that they've never experienced before, and they're enjoying it. They're having fun. It's really, if you go in our locker room after a win, it's really like we're having a party, And I'm the second oldest guy on the team, so I'm kind of lost. But it's really exciting to see these guys come alive because it's hard. This sport is hard. It takes a toll on you physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. It takes a lot out of you, and you want to see people enjoying it while they're in the process of it. And for me, looking forward, I think that this team is we've kind of found our identity as men, and the sky's the limit for us. I wouldn't even say that. The sky's not the limit. We can go even further than that. But again, it's the process, and I'm so excited about it because these young guys are great men, first and foremost, but obviously they're great football players as well.
And you mentioned earlier about not knowing what you're doing as a team, but something where you do know what you're doing is these post-touchdown celebrations, which I know you're a part of. Tell us about that. There's been, if you've seen the movie Drumline, or there was a recent one with like a pitcher and a batter. And
Nolan Ryan, exactly. So how do you guys prepare? Do you practice those? We do. And our coaches are probably annoyed with us at this point, but we do spend a lot of time practicing our touchdown celebrations. I think, just in general, the atmosphere that we try to create as a team, but mainly as a receiving group as well. We try to have fun. Again, like I said, just the job we do is hard. Like, I was there at 6 o'clock and I didn't leave until 6 o'clock, and it's hard, and we want to have fun. And so when we're on the football field, if we get to celebrate a touchdown as a unit, we're going to do that. And we're going to spend some extra time making sure it's perfect, just like the Nolan Ryan pitch.
I got to say, that was great. And was it Tyler Lockett who threw the pitch?
He did throw the pitch.
Yeah,
I got to say, perfect, wasn't it?
It was perfect. Talk about a high-pressure situation. Because if he had missed the knockdown pitch, that would have been humiliating.
It would have messed up the whole celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why he's in that situation.
Oh, is he? Yeah. The ice water in his veins. Great picture.
I wouldn't say that, but yeah.
So, Doug, we're here in Renton. We're at Southport. We're just a short distance away from the VMAC where you spend a lot of your time. Is there anything we have not yet talked about that you would want to get across to this audience in the context of Renton, your career, and anything that we haven't talked to you about yet that you want to leave people with?
No, these people don't want to hear about me.
Oh, come on. Look at them. They're wrapped.
You do? Can I ask questions? Can I ask them to ask questions?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we have a couple.
Just yell them out. Just yell them out.
And we can repeat them here.
You got a question?
I want to hear more about your view on the talents, and I was impressed that you brought that up.
Okay.
So,
We know about it.
yeah. So more. Explain this one, Doug. So more on your view on the talents. So explain that.
The parable of the talents is that there was these three men. They were given these gifts, these talents. One man was given one man was given 3, one man was given 5. The man with the 1, he buried it, and he wanted to protect it. So when the man who gave him the talents came back, he was like, I didn't lose the talent that you gave me. The man with 3 talents, he saved some of them, and invested some of them, and got 1 back. The man with 5 talents, he invested all of it and got 10 talents back. And so when the man who gave them the talents came to them and said, what did you do with the talents I gave you? They all explained what happened. And so the man with 5 talents at the beginning, who came back and now has 10 talents, has 10 gifts to give back, That's the man that I want to be. That's the man that I want to teach my kids to be, or the people I want to teach my kids to be. And that's the way I want to be for my children and for my wife. And so I think it's a scary thing, right? Because we've been given these gifts. We've been given this opportunity to feel safe and comfortable and stay in our bubble and our circle. And when you really are asking yourself to invest in something greater than yourself, that means going outside of your bubble, going outside of your comfort zone, and sometimes not feeling safe. And I think that's the area where God can really work. Instead of us making ourselves God. Thank you.
Well, this is great. Doug Baldwin, thank you very much.
We only
for
have one
being
question?
Here. Oh, that's okay, we got it. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
On the day you die, what do you want to be remembered for?
Okay, so the question is, on the day you die, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for being the best husband to my wife and the best father to my children. Right? All this other stuff doesn't matter. No matter how many touchdowns I catch, no matter how many Super Bowls we win, don't get me wrong, I want to win. But at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, and I've thought about this a lot, the only people that I want around me are the people that I love and that love me, right? Like, I don't care, but don't bring me the Super Bowl trophy, don't bring me a football, bring me my family. Because that's really, in this life, that's all that matters. And so when I'm on my deathbed, I hope they know that I love them with everything that I've had.
Okay, we got a question over here.
Do you see yourself staying in Washington after you retire from football?
Absolutely.
So the question,
done deal.
So for people who may not have heard that, the question is, do you see yourself staying in Washington after your career? And specifically, there was a follow-up embedded very quickly afterward. Are you going to stay in Renton?
I will be working in Renton in some capacity. I don't know if I'll be actually living in Renton, but I will be for sure working in Renton in some capacity.
That's right. Another one here.
What is your favorite game off-day recovery meal?
Favorite game off-day recovery meal?
Oh,
Good
man.
questions.
Meal? Spaghetti. My mom used to make spaghetti when I was younger, and it actually wasn't really that good. Don't tell my mom that. No, it was pretty decent. It was decent, but it gave me this feeling of safety, right? And so when I'm on my off days, I like to get some spaghetti, and my wife makes a delicious spaghetti. So,
question over here.
What does Southport mean to you?
Oh boy.
Oh.
What?
It's here now.
Yeah. What is Southport, which is the complex we're in that's underwritten our GeekWire on the Road series? What does it mean to you, Doug?
That wasn't a planted question.
She made me ask.
I bet she did.
This question brought to you by.
With her. Close the wine up. Oh man. Okay. All right, Kip. Don't get mad at me for this. I got to be honest. Okay. When I look at Southport and what's coming to life here, I look at this as an opportunity with its challenges, right? When you have a beautiful building like this come up, it raises the cost of living in the area, right? And truth be told, there's some people in this area who won't be able to afford that.
That's right.
Right? And I know they probably don't want to hear that, but that is the truth. And I'm not, if my value is to be honest, I have to be honest. But I will say this, the people that I've worked with here, and they know that I've worked with them, I've partnered with them. The reason why I've partnered with them is because I know that they have that vision, right? I know that their moral compass is focused on the right things, and their thought process and their consideration for the community that they've been blessed to be a part of, they don't take that lightly. And so I think that this area has a great opportunity to do things differently and to really humanize the problems that we see in neighboring cities, and make things better for all. And so that is my honest opinion.
Well, it's a perfect segue to what we're going to be talking about next in our next segment, because Taylor Soper, next to you, has been spending the week here as a journalist looking at the positives and the negatives and the challenges and the opportunities. And what you're saying is very much what we've been reporting all week. You know, there are many positive things happening here, but one of the challenges they're going to face is avoiding some of the pitfalls of the growth of the tech sector if it does come. And we see it firsthand in Seattle and Fremont and all the places where we are there. So, no, it's a very great point, and that's why we're here, is to be candid. And we are very grateful to Southport for bringing us here, but at the same time, we are here to do a journalism project, so that's very much in line with what we're doing here. So thank you, Doug. Yep. Doug Baldwin, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.